What's up guys, Silver here with another Halo Master Chief Collection Achievement Guide. This time we're doing part 4 of our Halo 3 LASO run. This is the Storm. You'll start off by being driven up to the starting point of this level by your buddies in the Warthog here. One thing to note about the starting weapons, you'll actually carry over whatever weapons you had at the end of Savo Highway, which is actually good if you had any fuel rod left, which you should have a little bit if you followed my previous guide, but if not, no worries, you don't need it. It's not necessary at all. All I'm going to do is give it to the guy in the passenger seat of this Warthog. Gives you a little extra firepower, but again, not necessary. But once your Warthog comes to a stop, we're going to get out and get the driver's side guy to get out. We're going to take his battle rifle if you don't already have one. You might have one from the previous level like I mentioned, but I don't happen to have one right now. I'm going to move over here towards these dead grunts. There's a plasma grenade and a plasma pistol, which has a full charge, so pick that up. Pick up additional BR ammo right here if you need it. And over here, there is another dead grunt with a plasma pistol with a full charge sitting next to him. Great if you're playing co-op. You could have 2 players with a full plasma pistol to take down the shields of brutes later in the mission. So we're going to go over here now, and I like to shoot the Marine. There's usually one Marine with a battle rifle, so you want to look around for him. And I like to shoot him in the head with my BR, so that way he will drop his BR. He's dead now, of course, and we could use that ammo if we need it in the future, which I'm going to need it personally because I didn't have any additional battle rifle ammo from the previous mission here. But we're going to activate the door, grab the ammo if we need it by that dead Marine. We're going to pull in the Warthog and kind of back it up right about here. You don't have to be exact here, but we're going to jump up, and you could actually hit the control for the door on the other side just by jumping up right about there and hitting the action button. You'll be able to open up the doors from this side so you don't have to go risk your health on the other side here where all the enemies are kind of hanging out. But I like to kind of hang in this doorway. Be aware that sometimes there's a jackal or a grunt who is going to be on this catwalk right in front of me, and they might just step in front of the doorway and start shooting at you. So just be aware of that. You can see there's a bunch of jackals over here. It's a little random where they congregate in this opening part, but you could just kind of hang back. I'm being somewhat aggressive helping out my teammates here, but they do a pretty good job themselves of clearing out this whole area, so you could just sit back if you want to and allow them to do the work for you. But I'm chipping in. Most of the enemies are dead here, and once they all die, or once most of them die at least, you will actually see some grunts spawn in right there. You can see they just popped into existence. There's 3 grunts that spawn along that side door. There's that big open door on the left that we need to open up, but there's a small side door that you could actually look through from this vantage point. But you want to hang back where I am. You don't want to move too far forward because that will actually close the doors to the previous section where we killed that Marine, so we won't be able to grab any more BR ammo from him anymore. So now that all the enemies in this first section are dead, I'm going to move up and reposition my Warthog for this next segment. And you can see that there's actually one of those 3 grunts that I didn't kill, and that side door is actually wreaking havoc on my Marine buddies over there. But we're going to go out here and grab that BR ammo I was talking about, and we'll be able to take on the next section with as much BR ammo as possible before these doors close. So now that the Warthog has moved up to this position, we have max BR. We're going to move up and open up this big doorway ahead of us here. And you can see all our Marine buddies are waiting for me to open the door. Activate the switch here, and then we're going to run backwards. And I actually like to go up this ramp on the left. I ran past it a little bit, but we're going to go back, jump up here, and then go along this catwalk. And we could actually duck into the hallway right behind me where we were kind of positioned originally. You want to keep an eye on this Warthog because sometimes the passenger guy gets in the driver's seat and then he'll drive ahead and totally ruin the whole thing. So if he happens to get into the driver's seat, just give him a headshot. We're going to headshot a bunch of people on our team in this mission for various reasons. But you can see here, this is a good vantage point, especially for the grunts. Really easy to just sit back and headshot all those grunts as they pop out from their cover. And then for the jackals, you could help them out with a overcharged plasma pistol. They don't really dodge out of the way too much. And once you've killed enough enemies, you'll see they actually start running backwards. They start retreating. And at that point, you want to go down, hop in the Warthog, and then we're going to drive up to the beginning of that little tunnel area there. And we're going to hop out so our turret guy can get a good vantage point on these guys, but we're also going to bail out of the Warthog ourselves. We want to clean up any grunts because obviously they could throw grenades and blow up our spot pretty easily. You want to identify the grunts early on and try to kill all of those guys before we even move up here. But you can see there was one alive when we did get here, so we just quickly killed them. And then you can just hide behind the Warthog, and it's pretty easy. The ghosts are going to become occupied by the brutes. They like to go backwards, and when they're retreating, they kind of gather their forces and get those ghosts that are parked at the end of the hallway there. But they're really easy to take out. You just kind of stand behind the Warthog here and let your turret guy do most of the work. And if they do happen to walk up here, you could always smack them to get your shield back. You could just kind of stun them with the overcharged plasma pistol. Be aware of the fact that the ghost could still shoot you if it's stunned, though. So you don't want to be in front of the ghost when it's stunned on the ground, because they will still shoot you. But we've taken out those guys, so now we're going to jump up here onto the side of the tunnel. There is a BR, so you can grab BR ammo. There's a bubble shield as well, so we should have a decent amount of BR ammo. We should have a pretty charged plasma pistol from that full plasma pistol we picked up in the beginning. And I like to headshot this guy, the turret guy, because I don't want him killing anybody in the next section. But we're going to activate the button, and that will get us a checkpoint probably around here. And then we're going to turn to the left, and you want to follow this path. Run over as many people as you can as you go, especially this brute. But if you miss them, don't worry about it. Just keep going. You don't want to deviate from the path too much. We're going to just follow this path, go through these 2 crates that are kind of big, giant crates, but have a tunnel on the bottom of them you could go through. And I'm going to go into this second one. I overshot it a little bit, but you could park in here pretty safely and go walk out and get the BR ammo from this fallen Marine if you do need it. Then we'll hop back in, and I'm going to go park this Warthog in the corner on the left here. We're going to bail out, and there's going to be a Phantom that comes in and drops off a Wraith where we are very soon. So keep an eye on the sky for that. But in the meantime, we're going to turn our attention to all the enemies that may be following us over here. When they're far away, you want to focus on the grunts. Don't worry about the jackals or brutes yet. You want to keep looking at the sky. You can see the Phantom is coming in now. I'm going to hide in this box here, and it's going to actually get dropped off, and its butt is going to actually be facing directly towards us. So you can see we can board it immediately and just beat it down. You want to smack it 3 or 4 times and then immediately hop off, because you will get your shield back, but if you stay on it as it explodes, it will actually take your shield down a little bit. You also want to be ready with the noob combo as you get off of that Wraith, because sometimes the brute on the turret survives. Most of the time he dies, but occasionally he will hop off and start shooting at you, so you need to be ready with that noob combo to stun him. And then you could switch to your BR for the headshot, or you could wrap up around behind him and smack him in the back and kill him and get your shield back in the process, like we just did on that last brute. So same thing for the jackals. If you see any jackals coming at you in this area, you could also noob combo those guys, and most of the time they will just start running away once you collapse their shield. So at this point, I'm going to go to that BR and grab any ammo I can, and then we're going to set up the next part of this. You don't want to kill any ghosts. So we focused on killing that Wraith and some of the infantry first, and now we want to move our Warthog over here. You don't want to kill any of the ghosts. You can see there's 3 ghosts in the distance. If you kill one of those ghosts, they will start coming over here. So you can see they're kind of hanging out over there. They will stay over there until you kill one of them, so we don't want that to happen. But the next thing we actually want to do is noob combo this guy in the gunner seat of the Wraith, the anti-air Wraith, because that way we could approach him easily, and if we don't have a shield, we could actually take this path and be able to walk up to this Wraith and smack it real quick just on the side, just a little love tap, not to do any damage, just to get our shields back, and then we could go back the same way we came pretty much. And it's a pretty safe route. I've never been shot over here. You might get shot at, but if you follow the path, they won't actually connect with any shots. And if they do, you could just backtrack and hit the Wraith a second time for some more shields. And we're going to hop into the turret of this Warthog and take out the Wraith. You want to shoot it in the side to kill it faster. It has less armor there. But the other thing I was saying about the ghosts is if you kill one before you kill the anti-air Wraith, it will actually trigger a Phantom to come in and drop off 2 more ghosts, so we don't want that. But you can see that when I killed the Wraith, it immediately spawned in 2 Banshees in the distance, so you want to bail out and hide here behind the Warthog. This is a great hiding spot. And if you look up and to the right, you'll actually see a Hornet is spawned in as well, a friendly Hornet, so he'll fly over the building over there on the right and come and fight these Banshees. And we're actually not waiting for the Hornet to take out the Banshees, we're waiting for the Banshees to take out the Hornet, which they will do, inevitably. So we're just going to hide here until that happens, and what happens when the Hornet is killed is the Banshees just stop paying attention to us. They'll actually shoot you with a plasma cannon or the Banshee bomb, but only while the Hornet is alive. Once the Hornet is dead, they stop caring. They'll still fly around the area, but they won't shoot at you anymore. But you can see I skipped ahead a little bit, and now the Hornet has blown up. I skipped ahead like 20-30 seconds or so. That is our cue to hop back on the turret. Now those Banshees won't care about us. We could focus on the ghosts, and now we're going to take out the ghost. We only need to take out 1 ghost to spawn in the next section, so those doors open up, and then we'll be able to leave. So we're just going to safely hang back and shoot these guys with our turret. And once we do take one out, we're going to drive our Warthog back to the general area of where that Marine is with that BR that we were gathering ammo from earlier. We're just going to drive it up here about, and then you could hop into the turret and start shooting at these guys who are now coming through the door that just opened up. But a better idea would probably be to quickly jump out and shoot the grunts that are in the area with some headshots with your BR, so that way you could kill them quickly and they won't be able to throw any grenades at you, which actually ends up happening here in this run. So park your Warthog here up against the wall so you don't get shot from the ghost when you are in the turret. You should headshot the grunts from this general area, and then you'll be able to hop into the turret to take out any jackals. And there's also a brute that sometimes comes through this door as well, so you might want to take him out with either your noob combo, or you could deal with him with this turret. So now that the doorway is cleared out for the most part, there are still some enemies in there, especially on the left. You can see they're kind of facing towards the right. There's a few Marines in there that they're fighting, so they're kind of distracted, which is good. So while they're distracted over there fighting our Marine buddies, we're going to hop into our Warthog, and we're going to drive into the right. and we're going to either hop on top of some stuff that's just kind of in there and up to the top level, or we could use our Warthog as well. You could see we could jump on top of here and then up. If that's not there due to a bunch of explosions from nades, you could use your Warthog to jump on top of and then get up here as well. We want to make sure we grab a rocket launcher out of this crate, so that will give you 8 rockets, and we want the battle rifle as well. So hit the door switch and then immediately come through this side door. You want to jump up and crouch while you're doing that so you could squeeze in through the doorway here. And you want to make sure you have a battle rifle and rockets. You can see I'm checking my shadow right now to make sure that is the case. It is. We have 8 rockets. We have whatever battle rifle ammo I have left over. And we're going to move over here. I like to shoot the guy on the back of this mongoose and take this solo into the next section. And we're going to turn to the left, go down the ramp here, and we are actually going to fight this Scarab fight. I know there's a skip to actually avoid the Scarab fight entirely, but we want to make sure that the Arbiter comes in and joins us because he will be a huge help for the final section. So we're going to go over here, and you can actually just wait out this whole initial part of the battle. There's a bunch of choppers, there's a bunch of ghosts, anti-air wraiths, banshees, phantoms, almost everything the Covenant has to offer. It doesn't have a Scarab yet, but I guess there's no prowlers, so we don't have everything in this battle. But you could go up the elevator and just hide in this corner. This is a great spot to just hide, just sit here and wait for the Scarab to come in. But I'm going to go ahead and skip ahead here. It usually takes about 3-4 minutes for the Scarab to actually drop down into the playable section. So you could, at that point, turn around, and then we'll be able to kind of go out on this big, long crane type thing, and we'll be able to jump on top of the Scarab. I know in my previous guide and in a lot of speedruns, old speedruns, because now you can just skip this whole thing entirely, but you were able to use the grav lift to get on top of the Scarab. You could still do that if you'd like, but I'm going to show you how to use the grav lift to actually make the ending easier. There's a jump at the end to get over the fence. It's not too hard, but I know some people had issues with it, had trouble with it in previous guides of mine, so I'm going to use that grav lift for the end instead of right here. So right now I'm just waiting on top of this crane for the Scarab to move towards the left. Once he's over there, that puts him in a position where he could kind of go under us and we could jump on top of him, and then we'll be able to take out the Scarab from within. But you do want to watch out because you could still get shot, especially from the gun on the top, which you can see is what's happening right here. That secondary gun up top will shoot at you a little bit if you're kind of out in the open. So stay back until you see he's going towards the left, which he is right now, and then he'll move towards the crane we're on right now, and you could jump off and land on his nose, and you'll be able to smack him to get your shields back up. You could smack him anywhere for shields. Then you want to move up either side and grab the plasma turret. This one happens to be dislodged already. If not, just rip it off, and then we'll be able to move back here. Sometimes there's brutes back here, sometimes there's not. It depends on, you know, where they're moving about. It's a little random where they are, and you could see we could take down their shields at least with the plasma turret itself. And then I'm just dodging these guys as they come at me. They're fairly easy to sidestep. You want to sidestep to the left and then just wrap up around behind them and assassinate them. If there was only one of them, I would have finished them off with the plasma turret, but it does take a little while longer to finish them off than on regular legendary due to the tilt skull. An even faster and more efficient way would be to headshot these guys once their shields collapse. But you can see I could not land any headshots for the life of me on that third guy there. But once all the immediate threats are dead, we're going to pick the turret back up, take the shield down, then take the health down on the backside of the Scarab here. You can see I smacked the Scarab wall again right at the end to make sure my shield was all the way up before going down here. I threw my bubble shield down. If you don't have a bubble shield at this point, you want to continue running away because there is some splash damage that will come off of the Scarab explosion here that we just saw. But if you have a bubble shield, you can kind of just camp out and enjoy the view. It's a little safer because there could still be some enemies on the Scarab, and if they see you, they could still shoot you as you're running away from them. So if you don't have a bubble shield, you want to kind of run away and keep an eye on the Scarab to kind of look out for any enemies who may have seen you and start shooting at you. You want to dodge those shots as best as you can. We're going to move up here, and there's going to be a pelican that drops off the Arbiter. This is the whole reason we didn't skip this section. But before we move to the next section, you want to run back here. There is the grav lift, which is what I was talking about earlier, right in this section behind the missile pods. And there is also a crate of battle rifle ammo. So you should have a full battle rifle. I have my rocket still, and I also have that grav lift I just picked up. And we're going to move to the next section. I got concerned for a second because I can't find the Arbiter, but here he is. You want to keep an eye on him, obviously, because you want to know where he is, and you don't have a nav point over his head like you would normally due to the blind skull. So we're going to move in here. There's going to be some more battle rifle ammo if somehow you already used all that battle rifle ammo behind the missile pods up. Or maybe you're playing co-op and some of your co-op buddies need that BR ammo. Well, there's some more right here. We're going to grab that, and we're going to move up ahead here. The Arbiter will move forward to this general area. He's right here. Sometimes he's right on the other side of this wall on the right. But we're going to smack him 5 times, and then we're going to headshot him. Once his shield is popped and that will kill him, he'll drop his plasma rifle. We're going to exchange our rockets for his plasma rifle, and that way when he revives himself about 5 seconds later, he's going to pick up whatever is the closest weapon, and that's going to be the rockets. So we're going to move into the next section now with our Arbiter who has rockets. He's going to be doing all of the heavy lifting. We're just going to hang out on the sidelines. I'm going to jump on these sandbags and in through this window, through this glass. You don't even have to punch it, you just have to touch it and it shatters. So I'm just going to bust out all these windows here and just kind of take a back seat and let the Arbiter do his thing. You have these 2 Marines as well who are helping you out. They're throwing grenades, and you could just chip in here and there with some headshots because they will be taking down the shields of all these brutes, and you could just kind of hang back, lay into them with your fully loaded battle rifle. There's more battle rifle ammo up ahead. You don't want to move forward here. You can see I'm kind of poking my head out. This is as far as you want to go because we don't want to spawn in the additional brutes before the 4 brutes in the initial area are taken care of, because obviously the Arbiter is pretty beefy now with his rockets and his resilient armor and everything, but he's not invincible. He can be overwhelmed, so we don't want to have a bunch of brutes come at him at once. So take out these first 4, then we're going to move up ahead over here. This will spawn in the additional wave of brutes that are coming in from the other side. You can see that I'm looking at right now. They are going to start attacking all of the Marines, all the construction workers, and the Arbiter in this area, and you could chip in as well. That was an awful grenade, but we're going to just kind of hang out up here. They tend to ignore you because they're focused on the Arbiter, but they will shoot you if you get their attention. So just kind of hang back here, wait for some shields to pop, then you could just kind of shoot them in the head for a quick kill. But one thing I should definitely mention is this strategy does not work in co-op because the second player in co-op will be the Arbiter, so you won't get an extra Arbiter who could be invincible, or not invincible, but super awesome and powerful like this. So this isn't something you could do in co-op, but you will have up to 4 players in co-op. If you only have 2 players total, you could have one person distract all these brutes, kind of shoot at them a little bit, get their attention, while the other guy kind of wraps up around the side of them, around behind them, and then moves on through to the next part of the mission. So you can kind of do a little game of distracting them while somebody else is sneaky and sneaks up behind them and either assassinates them or just straight up runs through to the next part of the mission. So now that all of these brutes have either died or retreated to the next room, we're going to go over here. I don't know what that box is doing. Something's happening over there. But there's a crate of BR ammo right there. So grab that. We have full BR again. And we'll head to this next room, which is another brute-heavy area. We're going to basically do the same exact thing. We're going to let the Arbiter do most of the work. And I like to jump up here, and that will kind of get the Arbiter to move up and start shooting at these enemies, start engaging them. And then we're just going to kind of jump back down and hide. You can see I'm being a little aggressive. I'm going to start shooting at the brutes a little bit, start chipping in. But for this area, it's easy to get hit. I don't have the best vantage point. It's not the safest. It wasn't like in the previous room where I was way far back and had a good amount of cover. This is not a safe spot, really. And if you have no shield, you could get killed real quick with one brute shot round. So I would just kind of hang back, let the Arbiter do all the work, way more work than he did in the previous room. I'm being somewhat aggressive and not taking my own advice here, but if you're really having trouble, if you're dying a lot, just kind of hang back behind the crates here and let the Arbiter clean everything up. I'm going to skip ahead because you spend a little bit of time here due to the fact that you can't chip in as much. And I should say, if at any point the Arbiter dies and you're kind of stuck, I would just revert to the last checkpoint, and then you'll get different RNG. The Arbiter will probably not die that second time around. He tends to not die, but he can die. But you can see I skipped ahead a little bit here. Arbiter is just cleaning up the remainder of the enemies. That's the last one right there. He draws his sword whenever his shield pops, so you can see that's why he had that out. Now he has switched back to his rockets now that his shield went back up. We're going to move forward. We're going to grab some spike grenades on the ground wherever you could find them. There's probably a bunch around here. And we're going to use them to throw at these barrels over here because they are explosive. We don't want to be near them when they do explode, so we're going to preemptively blow them up. And then we're going to move into this area. We're going to switch to a shotgun. You don't need to do this. I just like to switch out my plasma rifle for the shotgun. So I have a BR and a shotgun now at this point. And now I'm going to make my way across this room to these stairs over here. And we're going to go up to the top of the stairs and just kind of cut inside the door so we could see back the way we came. And I'm just going to wait for the Arbiter to walk in and start engaging these hunters. The reason I do this is because if you kind of hang back all the way back where we just came from, the hunters may not go over there, and the Arbiter may not move forward. And the Arbiter just absolutely devastated one of our friendlies. He just shot him right between the shoulder blades with a rocket. But anyway, now that the Arbiter is in the fight, we're going to go over here and jump through these windows so we can hang out in this room while the fight happens. And we have a good view of the fight, and we're actually pretty protected in here. And the reason I like to hang out in this little room in this area in particular is because of the fact that it doesn't draw the hunters away from the Arbiter. The Arbiter tends to stay on this side of the room where he is right now, but the hunters may actually be distracted by me if I was over on the other side of the room, so they would be facing me and the Arbiter wouldn't really engage them that much. By being over here, I'm basically forcing the Hunters and the Arbiters to be near each other, and thereby they will fight and kill each other. Ideally, the Arbiter killing the Hunters, which is usually the outcome. And you can see this is the reason why I blew up those barrels initially before coming into this room, because if I didn't, I would have these exploding barrels right next to the window that I'm peeking out of, so that would not end up well probably with all these grenades going off and all the rockets from Arbiter. It's all but guaranteed that those would blow up in my face, so blow them up before you go in here. And you can see I'm shooting at these Hunters not really to do too much damage, but to distract them and try to kind of draw their attention so the Arbiter could just shoot them in the backside and not have the Arbiter take too much damage, because again, he could die. He probably won't, but we're just increasing the probability of him not dying by shooting at the Hunters, basically. So now the Hunters are dead. That usually gives you a checkpoint. We're going to move back up those stairs where we moved up earlier, and you could shoot some guys as you do that. We're going to move up over here. The Arbiter will move forward and pretty much start laying into all those guys. We're going to move up the side over here and bust out these windows. You could exchange your shotgun for a sniper, and we're going to basically battle rifle, headshot, all the grunts. Once you take out enough enemies, you'll see them start retreating into the next section, which is good. That's what we want to see. And actually, the Arbiter does such a good job of killing these brutes, which he usually doesn't do this good of a job, but he killed the first two brutes, basically the Hammer Chieftain's buddies. We're going to find that the Hammer Chieftain is so fed up with us that he actually runs over here, which he usually does not do. I think it's because we took out those two carbine buddies of his. Normally some of his brute buddies retreat along with him, but this time they didn't even have a chance. Just the ham boy got away. But in a normal run, all you want to do is focus on killing all the jackals and the grunts, and then the brutes tend to just stay in the corner. This time around, like I mentioned, it's different. The Arbiter were super effective and killed all the brutes except for ham boy. Now the ham boy's upset he's all alone and he ran at us. So this is something we're just dealing with on the fly here. But luckily, we got all of these Marines throwing nades. We got the Arbiter laying into him with the rockets. I'm just hanging out up here enjoying the fight down there. But I skipped ahead a little bit. It took a little while for the Arbiter to finally take out the ham boy. And we are going to go down here now. There's more battle rifle ammo right here if you need it. We don't really need it for anything. But what we want to do now is move up to the top of this ramp, and that will get the Arbiter to move up as well. Otherwise, he won't move up. So we want to move up to the top of this ramp, and then I just kind of cut in towards the next section, and then I come back, and that will get the Arbiter to move up. He'll start distracting the reinforcements, the next wave of enemies, and that will allow us to move over towards the fence that we want to jump over. So I'm just going to throw a couple grenades just to get them to dive out of the way. Due to the tough luck skull, I'm actually exploiting that. And then I go around this concrete barrier and put my back to it, and then I look about 75% of the way up this fence here, and then I just use the grav lift, and it puts it in a good position where I could just use it to jump up here, and you want to crouch as you get on top. This is the typical way to do it if you forgot the grav lift, or the grav lift ran out, or you placed it poorly. Get up here and then run at the fence, and as soon as you start falling down, that's when you want to hit jump, and then crouch and get on top of the fence here. I'll show it in slow motion. So we're down here below again, and we're going to jump back on top, and then we're just going to walk straight towards the fence, and then there's a gap between the fence and the thing we're on, so we're going to wait until we start dropping, we start falling forward, and at that point, we're going to hit the jump button. So right about there, you can see my camera started to drop, so I hit the jump button and then crouched, which enabled me to land on this fence. Now we are going to move out of here. We're going to drop down onto the other side of the fence, out of the playable area, the normal area you would be in, and we're going to basically go and finish this mission early without having to fight anybody else. The first thing you want to do out here is follow this path. We want to go into this corner to ensure we hit a load zone. We don't need to go this far in, but just to make sure that we hit it so we don't mess this thing up. Then we're going to come back out of that corner and continue in this direction. We're going to wrap around to the right, and we're going to basically find ourselves face-to-face with a giant gap that we need to jump over. So don't get too cocky just yet. You could step off and fall into the chasm and die. Over there on the right is where we would come from. That's where the final load zone is that we need to hit. But we're going to jump over this gap. And two things need to happen to end this level. You need to, A, destroy the giant anti-air gun that we're approaching, but also we need to hit that load zone that we're avoiding currently. But we're going to do those two objectives in reverse, basically. We're going to go over here to this crate, which has two spike rifles. You could dual wield these. Grab these. They're really good at taking down the anti-air gun here. And you could also use a plasma pistol. There's a crate with a plasma pistol basically behind me right now. Watch out as you destroy this thing because there's a bunch of debris that will fall down. You don't want to splatter yourself right at the end here. And the last thing we're going to do is go hit that load zone that we avoided. When you normally play through, you hit that load zone first, which will spawn in a bunch of enemies here, and then you take out the gun while having to fight a bunch of people. But you could actually do it in reverse. Since we avoided that load zone, we could actually take out the gun here and then load in the enemies. The game will realize the gun is dead and I loaded in all the enemies, so I guess I'll just end it right here. And then you don't have to fight anybody in this last segment. And what do you know? We got a beautiful cutscene. Look at that. We didn't have to fight anybody. So that's it for this one, guys. Thanks for watching. I will see you when we tackle the easiest of Halo 3 missions, Floodgate. Thanks for watching, guys. If you found that video helpful, be sure to click on the scorpion icon to subscribe and hit that bell for notifications. You could also check out some related guides by clicking on the videos on screen, and you can find links in the description for other social media links of mine. Stay tuned for more Halo guides, and I'll see you in the next one.